Hey my lovelies, welcome back to my channel on social where we completely obsess over sewing. Alright folks, so this year I am partaking in at least 2 sewing challenges. I shared one with you already, which is being hosted by yours truly. It's called Fabric Roulette, and the aim of the game is to shift our fabrics from our fabric stashes into our closet. Now, if you want more details on this challenge, be sure to check out this video right here. You can get all of the information, how the challenge will work, how long it will run for, and you will get a sneak peek of my fabric choices for my fabric roulette. Now, for today's video, I want to hone in on a second challenge, which has been hosted by my girl Dayana of 26 by Dayana. Now, Dayana's challenge is called Sew Lucky Jar 2025, and the idea behind this challenge is to include in a jar all of the patterns that you really want to make that have just been sitting pretty in your pattern stashes and need to be transformed into wearable garments. So I have gone ahead and I have gotten my jar ready. I actually went and decorated it using my Happy Planner sticker books, and I just think that is just going to give me a little bit more motivation to pick up this jar. Now in my jar I have written out the pattern numbers or names of 24 patterns. My aim is to get 12 of these patterns sewed up, but I figured if I do one every month, I wanted to have a little bit extra in case at any point during the year I felt like I wanted to do an additional one, or my sojo disappeared on me and I needed a little bit of encouragement to start sewing. So in this jar I have 24 patterns. Now in order to get my 24 patterns, I actually allowed my husband to choose, I think it was 4 or 6 of the patterns, and I allowed my daughter to choose 3. Initially she was meant to choose 2, but she begged and pleaded and I acquiesced and allowed her to choose 3 of the patterns. So not only did I go through my entire pattern stash trying to figure out which ones I really want to make, and for one reason or the other I have just kept putting it off, but I also put some of that power in their hands for them to choose the patterns that they wanted me to make. Now, if I'm really lucky, when I choose from my jar, I will only choose patterns that I put in, because some of the patterns that they chose, I would not have chosen them myself. But I'm going to stick a pin right here so that we can rewind and you can see some of the process of getting my Sew Lucky Jar 2025 ready for the challenge. Hey boos, so the time has finally come for me to go ahead and choose my patterns for the Sew Lucky Jar challenge being hosted by my girl Dayana of 26 by Dayana. So this is the current state of affairs in my sewing space. So I'm going to go ahead and choose some of my patterns, but as a special element to this challenge, I'm actually going to allow my daughter to choose 2 of the patterns that go in my jar, and I'm going to allow my husband to choose 4 of the patterns that go in my jar. So I'm going to choose a total of 24 patterns. So if hubby's doing 4 and my daughter is doing 2, that's 6. So I have to select another 18 patterns to go in my jar. Now the idea is for me to sew up at least 1 pattern per month. That is 12 patterns, and I wanted to put an additional 12 patterns in the jar just in case I lose my sojo or I'm really indecisive about what I want to sew next. Then I can go to my jar and choose an additional pattern. So that is why I'm doing 24 patterns, even though the goal is to sew up 12 patterns, 1 pattern per month. So let us see how we can narrow down all of these patterns on my floor to 24 patterns.
Right, so out of my challenge, my task, I would say task instead, I was given leisure to choose 4 of my top patterns. And I guess based on sight, I didn't know anything about too much about sewing, that is. So out of it, I have selected 13 out of what initially stood out to me and still based on design. And my reasoning, this one is going to stay in for the simple reason that I haven't seen much sewing done on this one or this type of pattern. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, particularly with the pants area. As well, I like this one as well. So those 2 are locked in. So now that I choose to, I'm going to drop 2. I'll initially drop this one. It's no longer my to-go one. Also, I think this one stood out to me, so I'm gonna keep it in the top here. This one also stood out, so I'm trying to finalize. This one simple but nice. Out of this, also, I think these 2 stood out. Right, so I needed some spice, and these were my 2 spice areas. I chose this 2. I like the back out area, and I also like the front design, but based on the fact that this neck area looks a little more attractive to me, I'm gonna keep it in and drop out this one. This is S9784. Out of the frame it goes. This is nice. I've seen her make a lot of these. This is also nice. I've seen her make a lot of these. So based on this, like I said, these 2, she seemed very confident in making them. Very confident. This one, I think she's quite confident. So my final is I'm just gonna drop off all those because I kind of like this. Let me still this. I'll drop it out. This, I think she's very confident in this. I am more thinking of the top of this to go. This is the top, right? Yes. So I'm challenging her to do the top. These are my 2 challenges here, and this I know she'll kill. So I'm gonna finalize my deal. Let me see if I have any last look to make sure that I seal my deal. I definitely want the top. I definitely wanted to try this on. This I think is very nice, very pretty. Yeah, that is my final 4. I'm gonna settle on this. Also, I like this, but I'm gonna settle on this. But I think she's very confident in this type of patterns. So on this, I'm gonna close the deal on this 4. That's my challenge.
So you have your picks, Mama? Okay, let's see what you have.
So I have this one. I have to say why. Well, I have this one because it's an off-shoulder one, and I like off-shoulders, especially when they slanted a bit. So that's one. And I chose this one because it just looks nice and pretty, like when you're going out for a party, and it just looks like really good when it's long and pink. So, and I have this one because it looks kind of pretty, especially when it's the polka dots, and it does curve a little bit like this. Now I have this one because it kind of looks good. Now this one is my really top favorite because it has this little belt bow thingy, and I like the short version too. Especially with the jeans pants, I think it would look good. And now this one, because how it is when it's short, it looks like a jumper suit that you could wear at home or if you go out to the beach or something. So if you could cover up with your swimsuit, so I just like it. So I excluded all of these because I could only pick 3. So
All right, boos, I'm back, and I finally have 24 patterns written down in my notebook. I did not think it would have been so difficult to choose 24 patterns from my pattern stash that I want to make, but it was gruesome, you guys. Even with the help of my husband and my daughter, who had, I think, 4 and ended up giving my daughter 3, so 7 of the choices. coming up with the other patterns, whew, I was looking at the patterns, looking at the line drawings, looking at the pattern numbers, looking at the type of listen, I definitely think I overthought it a little bit. But we have finally gotten to the end. All right, you guys, there you had it. All the tea on how your girl got her So Lucky Jar 2025 ready for the challenge. Now, I am going to be choosing at least one pattern per month from this jar, and I'm going to come back here on the channel and show you the pattern that I pulled from my jar, the ideas I might have in terms of sewing it up, possibly the fabric that I'm going to use, and then I'm definitely going to come back towards the end of every month and show you guys the final project as well as give you a short review. So I'm really hoping that that is something that will interest you. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, then please do consider subscribing right now. Turn your notification on because 2025 is going to be an exciting sewing year for your girl. Now, if you are intrigued by this challenge, I will definitely encourage you to go ahead and give it a try for yourself. I love Dayana. She is my home girl, but in addition to just loving her and being biased towards her, I actually think that this is a really cool idea. So many times, so many of our patterns languish in our pattern stashes and just don't get sewn up. And then all of the new patterns hit the scene and they get pushed further and further and further away from our minds. So by putting our patterns in this jar at the beginning of the year, it means that whatever shiny new patterns come out this year, of course we can sew them up, but at least once a month, we will be showing some love to patterns that we already own. So way to go, Dayana. Amazing challenge, and I'm really looking forward to it. Now, if you like this video, be sure to go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Again, if you're not yet subscribed, please do consider subscribing on your way out, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Join in on all of the sewing fun for So Lucky Jar 2025 as well as Fabric Roulette. Now, that is all I needed to share with you guys for today's video. So until next time, stay calm, stay cool, stay safe, and absolutely join these sewing challenges. Peace.